piadina. What is a piadina? So I would call it a tortilla. It's very similar to what a Mexican tortilla. If you have piadina, piadina in Italy is everywhere. They actually have piadineria. They're like little shops that sell these homemade tortillas, flour tortillas, and then they fill them with many different things. So today we are going to start right over here. Let's get our gas going. The party is really going to start now. The goal now is it takes about 3 minutes. So 3 minutes, we're going to get it started, get it warmed up. We'll add the cheese in and then fold it in two with a little bit of prosciutto and arugula, and we get all that flavor and a quick bite to eat. But while that's happening, I also want to get the polenta started. The polenta is for our creamy gorgonzola right here. It takes a little bit of time to get that browned the way I like it, so I'm going to get that going as well. The good news is I've got a big gas grill here, so that should really help me.
Well, Sophia, this is all looking fabulous. And we do have some questions that are coming in. I'm wondering if you might have time to answer one or two.
It would be wonderful. Thank you, Jackie. Then I don't feel alone.
No, I think everyone is very, very intrigued. One of the questions that has come in is, do you have any recommendations if someone is wanting to use some of these cheeses on charcuterie boards for a happy hour menu? Is there any specific tips that you have in how to select or present those cheeses?
We'll actually be talking about that. So we built a charcuterie board and also some little cones here. We love to have a variety of flavors and textures whenever we're making boards. So sometimes it's salty, savory, maybe a little bit of heat, maybe a little bit, and then obviously the cheese is a little fat, right? Salt, fat, heat, and acid, but really building a board that has texture and flavor and color. I always think that before you eat, you always eat with your eyes. So making it as enticing as you can with the colors and the way it looks, I think it really adds. If we look at this board right here that we built, you can see we have salami, we have fruit, we have olives, we have like a little antipasto, we have crunchy crackers and a variety of breads. And in addition, we have the two artigiano, and I'll show you then how we serve that moving forward. So let me check on this. Our oil should be hot. My husband always tells me that I must not have feeling in my fingers because I'm able to touch things. I'm sure many of you understand that heat. You don't feel heat like others once you've been cooking a lot. When I was a little girl, my mother did all the cooking in the house. And because we lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin, there was no fresh pasta, there was no bread, and my father made the cheese. So that was great because at home we would make homemade pasta, homemade focaccia, homemade bread, and then my dad would come home with the homemade cheese and we just have it all put together. There we go. Okay, I'm going to check my piadina. I'm going to be right here. And it's just starting to get a little brown. We're going to let it get a little warmer. And in the meantime, this is going to simmer and we're doing really good. Did that answer your question, Jackie? Do you have anything else?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And sorry to make you skip ahead. There are some other questions. Someone else is wondering if they are thinking about doing a couple of flatbreads as part of their happy hour menu. Do you have any recommendations on certain cheeses or cheese blends that they should?
We have some incredible recommendations on our website, but my husband and I had a pizzeria that we actually closed Strata. But what's interesting about it is we learned so much about doing flatbreads. We had an incredible combination, which is actually very similar to this with dates, gorgonzola, caramelized onions, and pecans. It's just an upscale flavor, a little bit more sophisticated than the standard cheese and tomato that maybe people are used to. Oh, and look at how nice. I just want to show you guys this real quick. I don't want to get distracted and burn. That would be really embarrassing on television. I just opened the crescenza I want to show you. So it is really a fresh and creamy cheese. What's interesting about it is it comes from the word crescenza stracchino, vacca strata, which means tired cows. The cows seasonally would go up into the Alps. And when they came down, they had this really, really rich milk because they were kind of working all day, going up and down. And their milk was creamy and delicious. And so this fresh cheese, we're going to put it right inside of our, oh, where's my little plate? Here we go. So here, our piadina is ready. We're going to turn this off so we don't start a fire. And we're going to add in our cheese. And I just did about 1/4-inch slices. And we need to do it about half. So maybe this one will be a half. I would say it's about 2 ounces of cheese. We'll put it back on the heat for just a moment. That pan is still really hot. We'll just let it warm up. And then we'll be adding in the arugula and the prosciutto. Oh, I need the prosciutto. Could you please help me? I think I left it in the refrigerator in the other room. Ruh-roh. All right, this is looking really great.
Well, there's a lot of comments coming through of folks saying that this is their favorite cheese. So they're certainly looking forward to seeing your dishes come up. And there is a question about if you've ever seen or heard of any sweet cheese-based options or a way to incorporate any sweetness into any happy hour menus, or do you recommend sticking to savory options only?
100% I love sweet. I actually put on my cheese boards, and you'll see at the end when we look at the whole, I love adding chocolate and fruit as sweetness. I just think it adds so much more to just have sweet and savory. People like both. I think salty and sweet is in. It's really trending in the pretzels, in the nuts. People want heat and people want sweet and people want salty. They want it all. I think it's a great opportunity to mix those flavors. So do not be afraid. I think really the only thing that limits you is you. You try it, put it out there, especially during happy hour. It's a great time. It's a great time to try this. And if it goes and people ignite, you'll hear about it. I'm going to move this right off that. People can try it and go from there. So, all right, our first piadina is built. You guys, I did it. Believe it or not, it happened. And now I'm just going to slice it. So it literally is just like a little pita cut in half. And you've got that creamy crescenza, the beautiful prosciutto for the salty, and the peppery arugula for the flavor. And don't look at me, I'm making a little mess, but judgment-free zone, right?
It looks delicious.
That's what I always say, judgment-free zone. We're doing it. It's a little different live. You know, I cook a ton at home, but I've never cooked on live television, so this is really new for me. Thank you for having me.
Well, you are doing a spectacular job, so.
Excellent.
I see a future career on
We're going to start cooking with Sofia.
That's right.
So our next cheese is the creamy gorg. What's really important with the creamy gorg is the fact that when you open it, it was really meant to be our gift to you. The reason it's packaged in a gold tray is because we're trying to showcase the cheese, and it has natural blue veining. It's got a soft body. I actually got to make this with the cheesemakers about a month ago. It has such, I wish you guys could smell it because it smells amazing. Look, there she goes. It just smells so earthy and wonderful. And if you can see the texture, it's starting to get soft, and it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. So first thing we do is we always cut off the rind. So the rind helps give all that flavor, but you can eat it, but normally I do not. So I just very, very thinly slice it off. You don't want to waste any cheese, you know. Cheese is very special. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it a little piece, and then into the pecan it goes. Beautiful, right there. And this has a little bit of pink. I'm going to take that off. And we'll keep going. Look at how creamy. Honestly, if you guys could taste this, this is one of my favorite cheeses. When I was a little girl, my grandfather would come from Italy, and at Christmas time, he would always bring a half wheel of gorgonzola dolce. It was my favorite cheese. I was a little girl, probably not like the other little girls, but I would eat gorgonzola dolce. And I can remember my grandfather, when he left one year, my father said, "Sofia, I've got some really big news for you." And I, what kind of news would I want? Well, he started making creamy gorg here domestically. So that was a huge thing, right? To be able to have that cheese and not have to wait. These are my little pecans, you guys. Let me tell you what we're doing. So all I did was I butterflied the date. And why dates? Dates are in right now. They are not, you know, they're heavily diffused. You can get some really juicy medjool dates that people love. They've got that sweet texture. and soft, and then the buttery, earthy gorgonzola, and now a beautiful pecan to top for crunch and flavor. It just gives a different texture. And look, 1, 2, 3. Little happy bites, they're ready to eat. In this case where we made our plate, we made it shareable because when people go out, they want to be with their friends. So let's give them a couple extra and they can all have a nibble while they wait for dinner. And now we're going to turn these little guys over. Where is my tool? Ooh, here we go. Let's not burn my hands. We can't forget about the polenta. I told you guys it was going to happen and we don't want it to burn. That would be embarrassing. Okay, there we go. One thing I want to say about cheese that's very important, before you serve cheese, you always want to let it sit out to room temperature. 30 minutes before, let it sit. Crescenza, I don't know if I finished, but it really means to crescere, to grow. And when you leave crescenza out, it literally almost melts. It kind of, and that's the softened cheese. I have it right here in a dish, and you can see how soft it gets. We even suggest possibly using it as a spreadable cheese on top of a banana bread. Why not do kind of savory and sweet? I know you were asking about that, but that's a fantastic flavor profile with creamy, tangy, and now a little bit of sweetness as well. All right, our polenta is going, and when she's ready, we will continue on and top her. But should we keep going? How are we doing on time?
We are doing great. Yeah, I would think probably 20 more minutes.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to start on the sandwiches because those need a little bit of extra time. In the meantime, Jackie, do we have any more questions?
We do. Some of the attendees were wondering about if you have any personal favorite wine and cheese pairings.
So that's a wonderful question. So people normally when they drink, I think my mother's favorite for sure is the Pinot Grigio. Loves Pinot Grigio. I like a beer once in a while, but there's lots of seltzers. I love seltzers. I like things that have a little bit of bubble. So Prosecco is one of those drinks that I think works well. Oh, the website. Thank you. Our website has a beautiful pairing that shows our cheeses paired with wines, and it's a great way to be able to see what we suggest based on flavor profiling. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm going to quick wash this knife and be right back. Okay, continuing. All right, our polenta is almost ready, but we are going to start on the Italico grilled cheese. So I told you a little bit about Italico. Eat the rind, it's divine. This cheese has that same kind of creamy, funky. It really elevates. It elevates because it has such a fun flavor. Oh, it smells wonderful. So here we do have this pink, but we really want to eat that. So when I slice it for our grilled cheese, you'll see I leave it on and I use it as part of the cheese. I've taken some, there we go. I've taken some crusty bread and I just took a beautiful loaf of Italian round. I think it looks nice just sliced, and then we're going to put it in the pan with a little bit of butter because butter makes everything better, right? In America's Dairyland, we start with butter. I'm sure you guys like butter too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
A little bit of arugula with the butter as well because we've been cooking all morning. You know, this stuff didn't all just appear here today. This was a lot of work. At 6 a.m. this morning, I was making all kinds of things. The whole kitchen was upside down. I was making beautiful flower arrangements. I really wanted to showcase all these wonderful flavors and colors. Okay, there we go. All right, so our butter is melting, and then we're going to go ahead and and the polenta is still going. I'm happy I started that soon, Jackie, because or else we might be here for... The polenta takes a little bit longer. And one thing I was going to say about it that's important is if you are serving polenta, you can make a tray of polenta ahead of time. The proportion is very easy. I think it was 1 1/3 cups of cornmeal to 4 1/2 cups of water. You get that water boiling, and then slowly add in the polenta, constantly stirring, a little bit of salt, a tablespoon of butter, and then you put it in a sheet pan. I actually had it in a larger 9x13. I butter the sheet pan and then pour in the polenta. Once it sets and you let it set overnight in a cold refrigerator, cut it into beautiful squares. Mine are a little uneven. They're homemade. I'm not a chef. I'm not a chef. I'm a home chef, right? But what's nice about that is you have that ready. Then you can start with step 2, which is pan frying it. And even this step could happen before. And then from there, once it's all pan fried and ready to go, well, now you can top it with cheese and quick throw it in the oven for 2 minutes just to melt that gorgonzola. What do you guys think? Is everybody's mouth watering? Because I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet. We've been doing this whole thing for a little bit, getting ready, making sure we show you guys everything and talk about all the different points.
Oh, I feel like we can smell it through the screen. It just looks absolutely fabulous.
I wish you were here, Jackie. Potevamo berci un bicchiere di vino. We could be drinking wine and dancing.
Oh my goodness.
I normally have loud music in the kitchen. I love good music, so I'm always dancing and moving and cooking.
It sounds like an absolute blast for sure. We do have another question that came in. Not sure, it's not directly related, but someone was wondering if you have any storage best practices for cheese, or if it's possible at all to even freeze cheese.
You know, freezing cheese can change the body of the cheese, so I don't recommend it. My opinion is to buy fresh cheese, and our cheese is all natural, so that's different. Many cheeses you buy have preservatives. They add other things. Our cheese is an all-natural cheese, so basically when you open it, we laugh, and I say you have to date your cheese, literally date it. You can put a date on it, but maybe not take it out for a date, but date it. But when you date your cheese, that helps you remember when you open it. Natural, fresh cheeses last about 1 week in the refrigerator. Your refrigerator is full of organisms and life happening in there. Remember, cheese is a living organism. It has bacteria in it. And so that cheese continues living. And if it stays too long in your fridge, bacteria gets in there and it goes sour. Some cheese, you can cut it off and it's okay. But natural, fresh cheeses don't taste so good. They kind of go funky. So 1 week on fresh cheeses, and harder cheeses, normally I wrap them tightly with saran wrap, or I like stretch tight. Personally, that's my favorite. I like the stretch tight. It really has a nice solid seal. And a very important thing that I teach everybody, when you are using cheese, and our cheese is always tightly packaged, make sure that you cut only what you're going to use, because if the cheese stays tight with the wrapper, it does last longer, as opposed to opening the package and then having to throw away the cheese. When you just cut through the packaging and leave it that way, now you've saved that other part of the cheese, and only the area that's exposed to the air is affected. Hopefully that was helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, and let me check our... Oh boy, this is toasting. Time for me to put the cheese in the sandwiches. I almost forgot. Jackie, I'm getting off key. Before I know it, I'll have, who knows what'll be happening in here. It'll be a real party. We could, if we did bread without cheese, that would be a very, very sad day. Okay, here we go. Making sure to put all the bread the right way. My family just loves this. The nice thing with the grilled cheese is some people like it with, tomato sauce. Oh, look at how beautiful. And even the butter is browning a little. Oh, this is perfect. Nailed it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes it's like super embarrassing. I've done something wrong. I'm going to add just a little bit more butter just to make sure we have enough on the other side, and then we'll swish everybody around. I almost feel like you have to, pat your head and your tummy at the same time when you're talking and cooking. Boy.
Now, Sofia, are all of these cheeses good for heating as well, or some of them better served at room temperature?
All of these cheeses are wonderful both at room temperature or heated. They work both ways. The only cheeses I probably wouldn't heat would be our mascarpone. We make a cheese that's a spreadable fresh cheese, and it's basically, we call it 50 ways to leave your butter. It has half the calories of butter. Mascarpone is usually used in tiramisu, but mascarpone, I use it for everything. I mean, elevating the whipped toppings. Instead of whipped cream, I actually whip mascarpone with our ricotta. We have a ricotta con latte with milk. and whipping those two ingredients, adding a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of Grand Marnier, because that's one of my favorites, a little bit of orange zest, you can make the most incredible whipped topping that can go inside of custards. It can go in between layer cakes. It can dress a whole cake. Really, that's the only cheese that doesn't do very well because of the high water content. These cheeses have enough fat that they can be heated. Obviously, you don't want to burn them. You know, you can make crisps with our Parmesan, but these ones are all fine with a little bit of heat. Yes. Okay, let's check our sandwiches. Did we do it? And our polenta is looking finely brown. So we've made it to almost the bitter end here. La polenta si sta arrosolendo. It's turning nice and pink or browning. And you know, that browning, the caramelization, is that kind of crispy sweetness that we want. So what we're trying to go for in the polenta bites is really a crispy exterior, soft cornmeal, salty interior, and then the gorgonzola is just what elevates ordinary to extraordinary. It makes it spectacular. And because we eat with our eyes, we've added the microgreens, right? The microgreens add a little splash of color and brings back that gorgonzola. You know, maybe if they were blue microgreens, they'd be even better, but I didn't have any of those at my grocery store today. Okay, our sandwiches are ready. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to move these over here and turn off my pan. And we're smoking, so we know it's not the kind of smoke we want, so we're going to let that just cool off. And you know what? I need a paper towel. I'll be right back 1 second. All right. I have made it back. Thank you. Let me save the polenta. And actually right now is a great time to top it because it is so hot. In the restaurant, you may just have this ready and waiting for you on a little bit of paper towel or something to dry off that excess oil. And then you will top it just before. So I would heat the polenta in the oven, maybe 3 minutes, 350, just to warm it up, and then add the gorgonzola. But watch how beautiful this looks. We'll just put a nice little dollop. And the gorgonzola is soft. Look at it. I just love the flavor and the texture. I know you will too. If you guys don't know, I have so many people tell me I don't eat gorgonzola. Actually they say I don't eat blue cheese. So what is the difference between blue cheese and gorgonzola? The difference is this. When we talk about blue cheese is only aged 60 days and it's the American version of gorgonzola. Gorgonzola instead is aged up to 90 days. And what's different about it is it has a little bit deeper flavor, an extra 30 days of aging, and it has a softer, creamier texture. And that is what makes gorgonzola so unique and so delicious. You want to try the gorgonzola. It's also a premium ingredient. Instead of just blue that everybody knows blue, people may not know gorgonzola. So this is a cheese that we should be teaching people, and it might help you be able to change that price point because now you're offering a premium artisan cheese, not just the run-of-the-mill blue. It's not only blue, it's gorgonzola. And look at, it's starting to melt. I think this looks really nice with my little cheesy fingers. I have cheese all the time. Cheese everywhere. Okay, let me quick wipe these. This looks great. I can't believe this is all working out. I wasn't quite sure.
It looks divine.
I don't have, Jackie, you know, last time I did something live, it was a 3-minute segment. And the funny thing about it was I had the parts, but then I was able to go, and the magic of television, and bring it out. And this is a little different because I feel like people are really watching me and wondering, what is she doing? Yes, I am doing it. I'm trying. Hopefully you guys are interested. It's just fun. You know, food is fun. I think of food as family and friends. It's just an opportunity to all be together. You know, in America, food is fuel. Food is considered something that you just get in there so you can run through your day. In Italy, food is really a passion and it's a time to sit together and be together. So ever since I was a little girl, we had dinner every night at 6 p.m. Family and friends would all sit down together and we would share a meal. These are all shareable moments that you can build community, build family, build friendships. So I'm really excited about these flavors. And knowing that you're eating something that's delicious and nutritious and it doesn't have any preservatives. It's just yum, 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 yum. Okay, so now we have our dates. We've done our piadina, we've done our polenta, and our sandwiches. Those are ready too. Let's bring those over here, switch out. Is everybody following along? Any more questions, Jackie?
Yes, everyone is having a wonderful time, feeling very inspired. We do have a question. A chef has asked, they often have ends and rinds left over at the end of service when they're using cheeses. Do you have any suggestions about how they might repurpose those in any way?
Absolutely. So the rind is basically the part of the cheese that is left out during the aging process as they're putting, at least our rind. Our rind is the exact same product as the cheese you're eating. The difference is it's set in a curing, we call them curing rooms, air curing rooms, and they're left out to open air. And what that does is it helps pull the moisture out from the center of the cheese, and that the rind becomes the hard part. It's a little bit harder. So what I do, first of all, I thinly slice it. If you look at our product, especially our Parmesan, which is a very common product, BelGioioso Parmesan is delicious. And if you don't know Parmesan, there's also American Grana. It's actually made in a 70-pound wheel. But back to the rind, you can grate the rind. So as long as you do a paper thin slice and remove that first layer, you can grind the rind and make grated cheese. Or you can use it to make crisps. You can shred it and make crisps for the restaurant. Or you will, what else could you do? Oh, in Italy, they also take it and they slice it and they cut it in little cubes and put it in soup. Now you have an ingredient that was going to go to the garbage. You add it to your soup and it's a premium, delicious flavor. So taste it, make sure that it has a nice flavor, and then you can feel free to use it because it is part of the cheese. And it's just natural for it to have a rind. Is that good?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, back to our Italico sandwiches. So I'm going to show you, but look at how beautiful the cheese is he's just starting to weep out. Oh my gosh, the smell of butter and the smell of Italico is wonderful. And then I thought what would be fun, many times, yes, you can dip in a sauce or, this or that. I'm used to very simple flavors. So if you use the highest quality ingredients, you really don't need a lot, right? Here we have bread, butter, and cheese. Now I sauteed a couple of mushrooms, button mushrooms with garlic and olive oil, a little fresh parsley on top, et voila! You have a beautiful little topping. If you want, you could add a little heavy cream if you wanted it to ooze over the top. But today I kept it simple. I didn't think it needed anything more. I was quite happy. But the mushrooms were made this morning and they're happy to sit on top of the delicious sandwich. They're waiting to be eaten like everything else. And there we are. So here we go. So now we're going to add these to our Aperitivo platter. Oh boy, can we fit one more? Maybe the peaches and the pears are going to move there. Bridget always likes me to stack everything a certain way, so I'm doing it just right. Okay. All right. And now we've come to the last wonderful taste. But we do have more ideas that I won't be making. This will be all the work I've got to do today. Let me grab the last item, which is a slice of bread. And the cutting board is there. Okay, here we go. I feel like I could use another cutting board. Oh, there it is. Okay, I did have one. Excuse me 1 second while I move around. I need the bresaola, please. Thank you so much. I'm not speaking to myself. I am not alone, just so you know. I know I may look a little crazy, but there's a little bit more. Okay, so here we are. So what is a tramezzino? Tramezzino, thank you. Tramezzino is an Italian sandwich. Just like the piadina, there are little shops that serve tramezzino everywhere. And typically, they're filled with tuna, tomatoes, tons of mayonnaise, a big dollop of mayonnaise, but then a bunch of fun ingredients, mozzarella, and different cheeses. But really, it's fun to explore flavors. And here, I just bought a white piece of bread, and it's thick, right? The bread is thick, so you can watch carefully. But I go ahead and slice this bread in half because I want it to be paper thin. I don't want it to be all about the bread. I really want it to be more about the toppings. So tramezzino, usually the toppings are more than Oh boy, is this gonna, what if this is an epic fail? Let's hope not. Let's hope I got it. I was able to do it for all the others, so this is the moment to shine, Jackie.
I have faith. I have faith. And if not, these are how new dishes are created, right?
Right. Yeah, sometimes you have to make, and you know what, honestly, Jackie, I think sometimes you have to make mistakes in order to learn and to figure out a better way. Maybe one of the chefs will come back to me and say, hey, if I was going to do that, I would do this. I'm open to suggestions. I'm not an expert on everything. What I know really well is cheese. I've been around cheese since I was a year old. So I can tell you everything you need to know about cheese, but I'm still learning in the kitchen, and it's always fun to play with food and to try new flavors and new items, new ingredients. All right, so I took the rind off. In Italy, you can actually buy the bread like this, just white bread without anything else. In America, not so much. So I had to make my own, and this is how we did it today. Then we have bresaola. We have a little bit of rucola and our mayonnaise, which is right here. And what about, and I almost forgot the cheese. Oh my gosh, they excommunicate me and my family. It's like a mortal sin. You can't do that. Never forget the cheese. Always remember. We'll start with the mayonnaise. So we'll open up the bread and we will spread a big dollop. Oops, I didn't get it all the way through. So come on now. There we go. Jackie, this doesn't look as pretty as the first time, but not so bad. Come on. It could be worse. Let's put quite a bit. And I always like real mayo. If you can make your own, even better. But I did the quick step right here, grabbed a little bit of all real mayo. And we'll spread.
Sophia, we did have a question. Are all the cheeses that you're using today also available in wholesale sizes or?
Absolutely. Yes. So today I brought retail sizes. What's unique about the kit is that the cheeses that are offered are all offered in 2 pounds. So the nice thing about the Aperitivo kit is you don't have to think too much. As a chef, you can bring in these cheeses, you get all 5 cheeses, and you get 2 pounds of each cheese. It's already all thought out for you. And we really crafted this to share and to have a whole spectrum of flavor, from fresh, and then a little bit funky, a little bit more creamy, gorgonzola, and finally the artigianos. People are loving these flavored cheeses. So it gives you the whole palette of flavor and texture, and it's already set for you. So you get one 10-pound kit. However, these cheeses, our artisan line, can also be found in the grocery store in a typical 8-ounce size.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. I didn't get enough mayo, believe it or not. I thought I put a ton on, but it wasn't enough. So we're going to, one more smear of mayo. I don't know. Did I miss anything? Is there anything I haven't talked about yet that we should focus on?
I don't think so, because I think, even during the session, you answered some of the other questions that came in just naturally through what you were presenting. And I think for those who haven't asked questions, I think it's because they're in awe of all.
They can hear the music.
That's so great.
Bresaola. It's a very unique Italian cold cut. What's nice about this item is it comes pre-sliced. The other thing with all of these recipes, I think it's just meant to inspire. There may be ingredients that you already have in your kitchen that you want to use to utilize the food and not throw it away. I am 100% proponent of saving and using, reusing, recycling, upcycling. A lot of times things that we think of as garbage, just because of the way we were taught, cut it off, throw it away, but really there's something to be done with that. So look at what you have in your kitchen. What ingredients are there? The piadina, maybe in your kitchen you have, you've got ham. Well, maybe you use ham and crescenza. I mean, really, it's about elevating the ingredients that you have, using what you have, but then maybe you add in one of these cheeses, and that's really the superstar that brings it up a notch. Obviously, I like BelGioioso cheese, and of course, but figure out what works in your restaurant and how to bring these items in. Okay, so we've done this part. I'm going to put a little bit of rucola. Did I miss something? No. Okay. A little bit of bresaola right here. And I'm going to move the excess and clean up my little workstation so I don't have a big mess around me.
I also did want to mention, if it's all right, that BelGioioso will also be at the ACF National Convention in New Orleans this summer. So for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to try any of these cheeses, you're going to have the opportunity.
That is honestly, Jackie, you bring up a fantastic point. The reason we do this is because we have a passion for cheese. We say BelGioioso literally means beautiful and joyous. We put the joy in cheese. We take the time to handcraft all these different varieties. There are 30 varieties of cheese. So depending on what you're looking for in kind of the Italian cheese segment, I'm sure we've got it, or we have something that will work in your restaurant. And we are so proud of what we do. We take the time and the effort to just make the cheese right. And one of the chefs said to me, I have to tell you, I loved your product because I get award-winning cheeses delivered to me on Wednesday. I order on Monday, and on Wednesday, I have award-winning cheeses delivered. Not everyone can say that. Our cheeses truly do win awards because we take the time and passion. We have so much passion for what we do. You can see my excitement, but taste it for yourself. Taste it. Taste what you're using now. Try ours. You may need less. When you use a high-quality ingredient, our ingredients are not covered with salt. They really are about flavor and texture and smell. I mean, the aroma in this room, all I want to do is eat, Jackie. I haven't had breakfast yet. So let's keep going. But I wanted to show you. So when you use the Artigiano, you can just cut right through. And this is how you would, back to saving. If say you were not going to use this, you could leave this, wrap it in saran wrap, and put it in the refrigerator for later. Now we are going to use this because we're making our little tramezzino. Back to our tramezzino. It's so funny. I keep looking over here and thinking that's my cell phone. Let's put him away. Away with the other friends. Jackie, any other questions?
No, not right now. Just a lot of great comments of everyone expressing how they wish that they were there and that they are very excited to write some of their new happy hour menus as well.
Oh, fun. And so here, I'm just going to slice this thin, but not too thin because it is a crumbly crystalline texture, but it does slice nicely. So beautiful. 1 and 2. There we go. All right. And we will put it together. Voila. And now a beautiful slice, a little bit of mayonnaise on the hands. And I almost feel like I've earned a bite of this. Like I should really eat a little nibble because it is so delicious. I hear noises.
Yes, that looks spectacular. And
Jackie, would you like a bite?
I have a bite. This is killing me.
I'll save that other half for you because I'm sure we all have to share our own.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we all wish we were there to enjoy all of these great specialties. And we could watch you cook and talk about cheese for 4 more hours, but we are coming up towards the end of our hour. So I'd love to give you some time if there's any final thoughts, final words, recommendations, anything that you'd like to share.
Yep, I just want to show you, we made these beautiful little cones. It's fun to have the meats, the fruits, everything. Just beautiful. This would be a great little idea if your restaurant has to do something shareable and fun. Here's another idea with Artigiano, using just those roasted mini peppers with a little Artigiano and mini greens. Once again, it's like the Italian flag come alive for a tasty Italian flag. And then finally, I'm not going to use the little sandwich I bit, but I think the whole point of this was really to bring people together. And maybe you won't make all of these, but you could make a couple things and just enjoy them with your friends and family. Add more things to the board. You can always put fresh fruits, nuts, olives, pickles. I love a little bit of tart. There's just so much. And obviously here, there's a lot of missed opportunity here. We could be putting big whole chunks of cheese. And now we will go to this board, which is very nice. This showcases the Artigiano. And one thing I'd like to teach you today about our Artigiano is that it actually has the flavor on all sides. And the reason is that every bite will have that beautiful flavor. So in this case, when we cut it down the middle, and we cut, I was trying to kind of break it to show you the texture, but then everybody gets a little nibble with the flavor all the way around. And you can just serve it. You can serve it like this for a party. Set it up, make it look nice, add a couple of toothpicks, couple of friends, a couple of drinks, and off you go. There we go, a little bit of olives. And again, with all of these, I focused on the food because I'm sure, the happy hour part and the drinks is really something that you guys know. But don't be afraid to experiment, try things, try flavors. I know every year we get together with our friends and do a pairing of cheese and chocolate and drinks. And it's incredible how much when you taste different flavors together, you can really offer a client an experience. So a consumer that comes in, they've had a long day of work, they're tired, but now you let them escape. They can go to Italy. They can literally travel the world with all the flavors that you give them by enticing their senses, all their senses, with textures and flavors and deliciousness. So make sure that you don't just stop with a drink, but give them something to eat, something to bite on, qualcosa da mangiare, something to eat, because we're always hungry. We need something.